Hello there. Welcome to the Nerdy Photographer Podcast. I am your host, Casey Fatchett. In addition to providing informative and entertaining photography information, I also go on adventures with the crew of the Starship Fibonacci.
What do you think?
Yeah, there's still something off about the delivery. Oh, hey folks. Fib and I were just testing a new synthetic version of me that he put together. I think it just lacks my authentic voice, Fib. Speaking of authenticity, in this episode I speak with photographer Linda Alita about remaining authentic in the social media generation. That conversation after the break. Fib, why are you so interested in creating alternate versions of me?
For security.
I'm both intrigued and frightened. Hey photographers, are you tired of using the same stale poses with your clients, resulting in stiff and unnatural photos? Consider using Let's Be Real prompts instead. Prompts are not just a list of poses. They're designed to help you create a more engaging, fun environment for your photo subjects, resulting in more natural and authentic images. With Nerdy Photographer's Let's Be Real prompts, you'll have a unique set of prompts for couples, weddings, families, and individuals, ensuring that you never run out of ideas. Prompts are particularly helpful for clients who are nervous or self-conscious about having their picture taken. By giving them something else to focus on, they can become more relaxed and their reactions will be more authentic and less guarded. Using Let's Be Real prompts will not only help you create more fresh and dynamic images, but it will also increase your confidence and your client's confidence in you. You'll be able to handle difficult situations and subjects with ease, resulting in more satisfied clients and a stronger photography business. So start using Let's Be Real prompts from the Nerdy Photographer today and elevate your photography to the next level. Go to nerdyphotographer.com and go to our store, or click the link in the episode notes and get started creating authentic, engaging images today. Do you have your own website? Are you tired of dealing with slow loading pages and poor support from your current web hosting company? Consider switching to SiteGround, the top rated web hosting company that provides 24/7 support and super fast hosting speeds. SiteGround's platform is built on the premium Google Cloud infrastructure, ensuring top reliability, security, and speed for your website. Their fast network and storage provide optimal site speed and a high level of redundancy, so you can trust that your website will be up and running smoothly at all times. With SiteGround's ultra-fast server setup, your pages will load 30% faster on average, giving your visitors a better user experience and improving your website's SEO. And with hosting starting from just $1.99 per month, it's affordable for any budget. Plus, if you're not completely satisfied, SiteGround offers a 30-day money-back guarantee. Don't suffer with a terrible web hosting company any longer. Make the switch to SiteGround and experience top-level support, super fast hosting, and a reliable, secure platform for your website. I spent years with a web hosting company that was absolutely terrible. My site was constantly getting hacked and support was nearly impossible to get a hold of. Since switching to SiteGround, all of those problems are in the past. Just visit nerdyphotographer.com/recommends/SiteGround or click the link in the episode notes to get started and begin enjoying faster, more reliable web hosting today. Hello and welcome to the Nerdy Photographer Podcast. Oh, before I start that, last name pronunciation. Alita?
Oh, Alita. Yeah.
Okay, just
it's actually my middle name.
Okay, so is that how you want to be referred to?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure. As people like slaughter my last name all the time. All right, start that again. Hello and welcome to the Nerdy Photographer Podcast. I'm your host, Casey Fatchett, and I am here this episode with Linda Alita. Linda, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Before we get into the meat of the conversation, we'll start with a dice breaker. It's a 9. What is the worst investment you've made in photography, whether it's business related gear? What was the worst purchase or investment that you've?
Okay, it's really silly, but like a monopod. I know that that's stupid, but like it was just a waste of $20. And the only reason I bought it is because I thought I should buy it because the person that I was working with was going to be using one. And I have never used it. It has sat in my closet and like just collected dust. And I realize it's just silly and it's just a cheap little thing. But like the fact that I bought it just because I thought I should was like a bad choice on my part.
Oh, man, I have found uses for monopods, even if it hasn't have anything to do with my, like putting my camera on it. Like I think I have three, and I have one that's like really narrow, like really small and lightweight that I use, and I put a flash on sometimes, and I just hold it up to get some, like, so I don't have to set up a light stand or something. But there are so many other little things that I've purchased over time where I'm like, I'm going to need that. And then I'm like, I never needed that. Those little things that you're like, what am I really getting out of this piece of gear? Is it just to like satisfy some sort of, I don't know, like some need or urge that, or thought that this is what's going to make the big
Push
difference.
our stuff over the top.
Yeah. Oh man. You know how many crappy white balancing effect things that I bought, like the lens cap? There's like a thing that was basically looked like it's like a plastic handle with a little crystal thing in it that you like put it over your lens and like get you a custom white balance thing. And I'm like, you know what? Nope. Never used any of those. Never like bring it. And I've since found one on my, like, I have a free app on my phone that's both a light meter and it will tell you like the color temperature.
Really?
It's not the best, but it will, like, color temperature is very good. As far as exposure, it'll get you pretty close, and you can move from there. But like it can't do like flash or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it's something.
White balance in like indoors is one of my hardest things. Like that's a struggle for me with flash and everything, because like I do a lot of like Indian weddings and like these little restaurants where everything is red and yellow, and it is awful. Like I'm sitting here struggling through a wedding right now, and I'm just like, I wish I had something that was just like consistent. Like it's all over. It's like 2,500 to like 5,000 on my like ISO or white balance. I'm just dying right now.
Yeah, they have all those like things that throw off really hot tones, and you're just like, oh man, what am I doing? What's going on here?
Right. And I can't throw everything into black and white.
It's the funny thing. It's like I'll get clients who'll come back to me and say like, "Oh, can we have that in color?" And I'm like, "Sometime," and I don't remember because I'm like, it's been a month or whatever since I edited it, and I'm like, sure, it might not look great in color, and there might be a reason they determine that it's black and white. We'll take a look. We'll see what's going on. But to give people kind of a background on you, like what is your photography journey been like?
So it's really eclectic and weird. And I have danced around like my story as like a photographer, like whenever people ask, kind of directing them towards like the points that I want them to hear. It's always been a part of my life. My dad actually, his degree is in art, studio art, focused on photography. So he kind of wanted to be a photographer, but never really got into it. So I always had a camera in my hand growing up, but it was just because it was such like a part of my life. I didn't really think about it as a career. And I actually, like you, kind of went more towards journalism, and ended up as the yearbook editor in chief because I really wanted to tell more written stories and then use the camera as like a way to support what I was writing. And actually, my undergrad is TV radio communications. And so with a mass communications focus, when I switched over, I dropped out for a little while there. But I really didn't think photos were going to be where I was going. And then I was at a play date with a girlfriend, and she showed me the most gorgeous picture of her daughter. And it was backlit and it was beautiful. And I didn't have a camera, and I hadn't had a camera in years. And I was like, I want a camera and I want to take pictures, and I want pictures of my kids. And so it took me about 6 years after that to get an actual like digital camera. And that was 2014. And I started just taking pictures of like my kids and their sports games and their school and their scouts. And like, I would carry my camera literally everywhere and tell people I want to be a photographer and I want to take photos. But I didn't like really push it until about 2021, when like after the pandemic. And I was just getting really tired of not having people to photograph. Like I was begging people to, but I was like, I'm going to like start pushing this fully. And so I started pushing the family stuff. And that was really hard because people have been using me for free for so long
Mm.
that it was hard to convince them that now I had value. So that's when I started going for second shooting jobs and heading towards the wedding industry. I was like, if I can get like sports games with like 300 photos and deliver them in a week and they're like nice and beautiful, I can handle a wedding. But like I didn't have any experience. So I started second shooting and it's kind of like grown from there.
Yeah, I mean, it's and you. I mean, weddings. I think Jerry Jonas or somebody. I just recently saw something where he said like weddings are like the best training ground for any kind of photography because you do pretty much every kind of photography at a wedding. Um, but yeah, like you get in there, learn. They've got a whole. I've got a whole other episode coming up about using being assisting and being a second shooter and how I can help teach you all sorts of stuff. It's everybody's got a different journey. I think that what you're talking about though is something that I've heard a lot of people say, like they just struck by the need, like to be
Yeah.
connected to those subjects and wanting more out of it. And then, you know, so like more than your phone can do and more than your, like, whatever, like you have at the moment, you like, you just, there's a craving for more.
It's what's that gap where the knowledge gap.
Yes.
So every single time that I would learn something, I would look at my photo and go, but it's still missing this and it's still missing that. And I would just keep wanting to get better and better. And I was running out. Like I started with the Nikon D3200 in 2014. So I was shooting sports games with a kit lens and like it was stupid, but like at some point I wanted a full frame camera to like really make it better. Like I mean, it was hard to do, but I was getting the images I wanted. And then I was like hitting my limits. And so you just want to keep growing and getting better. And what can you change and what can you learn? And
Well, it's one of those conversations we have a lot. It's like, you know, like people say like, oh, gear doesn't matter. Well, gear doesn't matter until it matters. Like there are certain things like, you know, I never had like a super telephoto lens. I usually like, I had a 70 to 200 and I was like, this is fine, whatever. But then I started going and doing like, you know, we were traveling and we'd see wildlife and my wife would be like, you need something to get you closer. And then strangely, like I got this like 150 to 600, which is like super telephoto. And then I started getting these corporate jobs where I was like super far away and I was like from wherever the subject was. And I was like, hey, it's a good thing I've got this now because like this is helping me out. I did a cricket match. Like you can't like be close to any part of the like where the action is.
right.
And so like, you know, I've got that thing on like 600, like all day, you know, photographing this cricket match because even the 7200 wouldn't get me nearly close enough for that stuff. Like gear, like, yeah, it doesn't matter until it matters. So I totally understand that.
Yeah. Just purchase it to solve a need. Once you start purchasing it to solve a need, you're on the right track. But all these people who sit there and purchase things and think it's going to take their photography to the next level, I'm just like, you're wasting money.
Yeah. Unless you know what it is. Like as I used to see people like back in the day in the wedding industry, way before you got involved in weddings, there was tilt shift was a big trend for a while. Like people doing like tilt shift portraits. It's for like 2 years or 3 years. I think maybe 2 years. But like, you know, there's like the really hip thing to do is like these tilt shift camera portraits. And I would talk to other photographers and like, I'm going to get a tilt shift camera. And I'm like, for what? 5 photos that you take at a wedding? Like, I'm sorry, but like, I don't see like, A, I'm not a trend person, but like B, like you're going to spend $3,500 on a lens that you're going to use for 5 minutes at a wedding. And then you're not going to use it at any other point. And they're like, oh yeah. Like there's sometimes where you don't need it.
Right. Well, and So you know that all my I do all my work on pretty much two lenses, right? Like it's the 105 and the 24-70 with the Z6 II. Like that's pretty much my entire portfolio. I mean, there's the $6 KEH lens, which I freaking love, and it's manual focus. But I don't bring that from weddings. I pretty much everything is that 105 and the 24-70. The 105 specifically was because I couldn't afford the 85, and I wanted the compression. The 105 was only $900 versus 3,200 for the 85. And I got the macro, which is what led to me doing a macro. So like you can do things for cheaper. You can solve problems without spending an excessive amount of money. And that's one thing I want to like tell photographers a lot of the time is like stop spending money to solve your problems. Start with like what you have around you.
Yeah. Like start, like think about what you need. Think about what you're trying. I think the biggest problem a lot of people have is they don't actually envision what they're going for, what they're trying to create. Like
Yeah.
they think that, and social media is a huge part of this because people like go like, oh well, like I'm you're comparing yourself to other people, and you're
Yeah.
thinking like, oh, I've got to have that lens because that's what so and so uses, and their pictures are so amazing, or whatever. And like the comparison just destroys you. Sometimes it's like
Well,
it just eats away at your own creativity.
it really does. Should we talk about the social media stuff?
Yeah, I think we should. How do you feel that your own identity as a photographer and an artist has changed and evolved by sharing your photos on social media?
So we have to start with the fact that like I wasn't really on social media until I started my business. Like I had a personal Facebook account where I showed the photos that I was taking with my friends and family, but it was locked down and private. There was no like sharing it with the rest of the world. I didn't care about that kind of stuff. I really just cared about making sure that the people that I like loved and cared about had good photos of their, people that were around them. So social media didn't shape my photography in the beginning when I was learning, which is really kind of cool because I just had to experiment with my camera and figure out like editing on my own what I personally liked. I didn't have social media telling me this is what you should be doing, this is what's popular, this is like who you should be following and talking to and stuff. And so when I came in to the industry, I put it in the interview, like I had no idea who Jose Villa was or Jasmine Star. Like I showed up at a wedding and somebody was asking me, and I'm like, should I know them? Like I don't. Like I feel really bad. But
Oh, it's
like
fine.
I have no clue. Like I seriously, and so when Threads started, I had zero followers. And I was talking to the void, and I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to start sharing the things that I really enjoy, and I'm going to start talking to people. And I really had no clue who anyone was. So I was interacting with big accounts and had no freaking clue that they were big accounts over on Instagram because I don't go over there.
Right, and because it also threads, like somebody could have 100,000 or 200,000 followers on Instagram, and they've got 200 on Threads because they just aren't like super active on Threads or whatever the case may be. I've seen like people who have like so many followers on Instagram, but then they're like, we've got 1,000 or 1,200 here, and so they seem more approachable in a way. Like and they are. Threads, I think, is
Yeah,
has kind of a leveling effect.
exactly. And that's it because it's so level, the playing field. I just talked to people like they were my peers and treated them like they were my peers. And because I generally have a good head on my shoulders, I like to think as far as like the photography stuff, people can like respect that. And I didn't treat it like I was trying to like I do not think that it is anybody's job to take me up with them. Like I want to have photo friends and everything, and I'm happy to help and everything, but it is not my job to make your career for you. And it's
Right,
not their job to make my career for me. It's my job to sit there and do interesting things. And maybe they're going to want to be a part of that if they find it interesting.
right.
But like and that's how I treat it. And I think a lot of people go wrong when they sit there and try to like I don't know, make friends just for the sake of like what they can do for you.
They think that
Does
the
that make
clout is going to somehow like, oh, they're like, if I can get them to respond to one of my images, or I can get them to whatever, then that's gonna be the magic bullet that like changes
Mhm.
my trajectory as far as my photography career. Like, no, it's not. Like that's
There's literally nothing that you can do on on social media or talking to other people that is going to help your business. You're going to have to sit there and get out there, market yourself, do your website, do your own stuff, and do creative things. You cannot expect anyone to hold your hand and do anything for you. And I have this conversation with people all the time, and it makes them so mad. But like, it's true. And I think that's part of the reasons why like I do find success talking to bigger accounts is because I don't have any kind of expectations. I'm just there to hang out and be cool and share the things that I love too
yeah,
and love on them because I really do love like these people's work, you know?
yeah, and I think that's. I mean, I've had some similar experiences because I think it's part of like everybody. I don't know, like being in New York and like running into celebrities all the time. You like realize that hey, they're just people. Like, treat
Hmm.
them like people, and say something nice, and like be, you know, and if it can be is like an obscure reference that they understand, then they'll probably be more likely to feel comfortable because they're like, oh, something about me or whatever the case may be. But having like done this for the show, even like I will just throw out there like, hey, you should come on my show, just because
Yeah.
it's a you know, well, what's the worst that can happen? They don't respond. Like, great, fine. But it's actually led to like some interactions that these are people I admire or people whose work I think other people should know about, and I'm not expecting them to like make me famous or more like spread my word about me. Like, I'm literally wanting to have a conversation with you, not and build a community. Or and speaking of which, when was the moment, or was there a turning point where you felt like social media was it wasn't you were talking about like, oh, I just was having conversations with people and not realizing who they were or what if they were a big deal or not. Big deal in air quotes for those people who are just listening, just saying big deal. What point did you realize you were building a community or that you could build a community on social media?
I think it was when I realized I wanted to stop selling to photographers because, like, here's the thing: when you're on social media, I don't know if you've noticed, but there's like two kinds of people. There's the people who are selling to well, I guess there's three. There's the people who are selling to their clients and they are just talking at you and they have no like actual concern about like, they kind of want your engagement, but they don't care about what you have to do with your engagement. Then you've got the people who are just like spewing their life and like they're just out there living and whatever. And then you have the people who are selling to other photographers, like we talked about, where they're literally expecting that if they show some piece of work that is cool enough, they will suddenly be like in a cult or club that they
No.
are, oh, everything opens up and like, and suddenly their career is made for them and stuff. And I feel like a lot of hobbyists are out there on social media specifically doing that. And I was like, okay, that's not the club I want to be in. I want to be in the actual club of the people that are doing the cool things. So how do I get there? And how do I get there um, without like, just glomming onto them? So I was like, I'm going to start one being inspired. Like, what are these people doing? So I started like looking at, like, I started getting out in the world, going out on photo walks and like meeting other people because that's what you do if you want to create is you go and meet other people and you have to talk to them about what they're doing and what they're interested in. And the more that I talk to people, and it really helped me to grow. And I was like, I want to help you grow too. It's the rising tides. We all grow together. Like, seriously, I love being able to sit down and like help somebody with their website, like the little problem or
Yeah.
something. Because when I have an issue and I'm like concerned about something, I can go to them and ask them a question too. And and that's when my focus became more of that. So like I stopped trying to like get noticed and and that's, yeah. So does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it
Sorry.
totally makes sense. I mean, it's more of like you create the community that you want to be in a way. Like it's the, you're not just out there trying to get ahead of everybody. You're actually genuinely, I think that having a genuine interaction with people and taking interest in what they, what they do and what they create and, what's going on with them. That's how you build connections.
Right. And there's a client for everybody. Somebody is going to like, your stuff and everybody else's stuff. Like just because you do something different than me doesn't mean that like, you're not valuable. And like, if it's not anything, you're more valuable because you're teaching me about something that I don't know and don't do. So like that's the other thing is like when I started to learn that I could learn from these other people too. And like that shared knowledge, it's so beautiful.
And there's also a sense of like, like people expecting that every one of their followers on social media are only concerned with their account. Like there's this, the thought like, why isn't everyone who follows me commenting or liking or whatever? And yeah, the algorithms have some issues. Like, depends on what platform you're on, like what's going on.
Yeah.
But like you also have to have a sense that like you are just a portion of what these people have curated for themselves, and like not thinking that they are obsessed with you 24/7 and are going to be just like waiting for the next thing that you have to say or post, whatever. Like, and just like, you have to create that space and like, make it open to a bunch of people and whatever, so that they can come in and come and go as they please.
Well, and to be honest, like I kind of utilize that. Like as soon as I realized the web that like because the algorithm threads and the way that it connects people and then it shows you your friends' comments and everything. So my friends would be commenting on somebody else's post. So I'd go and see what they were doing and follow that person. And so it creates this exponential, like it seriously just grows everything.
Yeah.
And so like there's nothing wrong with them enjoying other people because it's bringing more people to you. It's bringing more people into your community. So I would rather see people who are out there and enjoying other people. I want to see them sharing and growing because those are the people that are going to be coming back and like they're loyal supporters. The fact that they're coming back to you.
Yeah. And also like, you get to see what else they like.
Yeah.
And what else is going on. Like that, to say that that's one thing I really love about Threads is like being able to see other people's like their comments showing up, and you get to, and not just like their comment, but like the thing that they commented on showing up in Threads, and you're able to be like, oh, well, hey, like that's pretty cool. Like that, I'm interested in that too. That's let's dive into that a little bit more. Yeah, I think that's understanding the interconnectedness and how it benefits everybody, and not just thinking about ourselves.
And using it kind of as a strategy. It's like to really like get yourself known a little bit. I mean, it really does kind of work that way. But like Threads is just kind of, to me, I visualize it as a big party and everybody's standing around in like groups talking about different things. And you can just kind of show up in a different group. And like the point is though, to join the conversation. It drives me crazy when people jump in and talk at me. And I'm like, did you care about what I had to say? Do you want to hear? Do you want to read what everybody else is talking about? Or do you just want to make it all about you?
Yeah. It's like, I'm going to dive in and like, and not paying any attention to what is going on. And like, I'm just going to jump into this and like, it's the people trying to have main character energy on social media and not realizing that doesn't happen. It's just not the way things go. So do you feel like you're talking about like making these connections with people online and building a community or whatever, do you find that sharing more personal stories and information, like I just as an example, I find that when I talk about something that went into making a photo, like what's going on with me in my head or in my life when I make a photo, it gives a lot of people like another way of connecting with it. But do you feel that sharing that sort of thing has helped deepen connections with people you interact with?
100%. Seriously. It started with like I thought threads had to be professional at first. I fell into that trap a little bit because I was scared. And then a friend and I were talking, and I told him I was broken, and he was like, "You're not a toy. Humans aren't objects. You
Mhm.
can't be broken." And I was like, "I am anxiety ridden and depressed, and I work out, I eat well, I talk to friends, I exercise, or I do mindful meditation, I write, I take photos, I create, I cook, I spend time with like the people I love, I do therapy, I literally do everything that you need to do to not have anxiety and depression, and I still have anxiety and depression. You know what that means? It's not logical. You cannot just talk your way out of the mental health illness. It wouldn't be a mental health illness if it was logical. So it doesn't matter like what other people think and stuff. And so I made this really angry post and I ranted and I attached a photo to it and it went kind of viral for me. It was like 800 likes or
Oh,
something, which is huge for me at that point. Um,
I still think that's
it's
pretty big
actually
for
it's huge
anybody.
now. Yeah, because I think I'm at like 60 or something normally. But like it was really huge. And the fact that people connected to that story, I started to like really share more of what was going on because then I was able to understand and accept what I was doing within myself as being okay. This is who I am. Um, that Yosemite picture that's like my pinned post has a very personal story to it. That story is pinned there for a reason because it's sort of like I am going to show up in this world, whether you like it or not. I will make way and room for other people too, but I am here and I'm going to show up in my way. And that's how I try to show up online. And I want other people to show up online because I feel like we are more connected to people than things. And so when we can sit there and understand where people are coming from, other people feel more open with sharing where they're coming from, and then I can learn from them and it allows vulnerability in a way that I think would take too long for me to get to with other people, like in other ways. If I wasn't being vulnerable, you know?
Yeah, I think that you let people know it's like, I don't want to use the term safe space, but like, like that you're okay, like that you're okay, like
Mhm.
you by putting it out there, you are letting people know like it's okay to share this with me. It's okay to talk about these things with me. That is the like you are this community of people who feel like-minded or whatever. Like you are welcome here. You're welcome to share your story. Come on in. Like follow if you want to. If not, you can just watch and like that's the other thing. It's like if people who are just observing these things like, and there are times when I've seen a post on any social media platform, whatever. There's times where it's like it has affected me personally, like on some level, and I may not like interact with it because I just don't want to. Like I'm not feeling it at that point. Like I want to put myself out there at that moment in the comments and be like, "Hey, this is what's going on with me." But I know that is someplace I can go.
Yeah.
I can go back to and be like, "Hey, it's like I know that this is sharing this type of information. I too, like anxiety, depression. It's and this is a chemical
World we
thing.
live
Yeah, it is. But it's the uh, isn't it?
in.
But yeah, it's like it's a chemical thing, and like I was talking to a friend who had gone to therapy for the first time and been dealing with depression, and was like several months through uh therapy wise, like their therapist had said like, oh, do you want to continue doing, you seem to be doing really well, do you want to continue doing this? And they had said to me, like, I know you go to therapy, and I'm very open about it. I think everybody should probably be in therapy. But it was the whole thing of like, well, for me, it's not a matter of like, oh, it's going to be better in a after like 6 months or whatever of going to therapy. This is a constant thing,
Yeah.
and it's just something like I'm just letting them know like I'm happy for you that you worked out whatever your issue was, but like, for me, it does, and he was very like, well, thank you for sharing that with me.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like, yeah, this is just, this is who I am. And like, the anxiety doesn't just go away, but like our connection as friends has become deeper because of that sharing of information. Um,
they you have a like you shared experience. It's that shared experience. Like it's, seriously, and there are so many shared experiences that we all have. We are the human experience is we like to think about it as being very unique, but it is very similar across the board for a lot of us, and we forget that. We feel so alone all the time, and by sharing you can find other people, and it's so much more comforting to know that I'm not alone, Like
yeah,
it just feels good.
and it's a matter of being vulnerable.
Hmm.
So which I think is hard for a lot of people to do online because it can be a cold, cruel world on the internet.
So mean. No
Yeah,
one cares, Linda. No one
yeah.
cares. Just
Oh,
go back and stop talking about it.
yeah. Don't talk about it. I had
This is inappropriate.
it's hard because like, yeah, I'm part of my anxiety. Um, it's which is weird because I was a theater person and like performed a lot, and now there's sort of as I've gotten older, the anxiety's creeped into like putting myself out there, like just visually or whatever. There's some body image issues, um, and I did a reel on Instagram. Gotta be 2 years ago now, maybe. That went viral and got like millions of views, millions of views, hundreds of thousands of likes, but like the two or three jerks who like came in there and would be like, "You should lose some weight," or whatever. It's like, and that just like makes me like cringe. But I'm like, no, I've got to be like, there's so much positivity out here, and by being open and vulnerable, and like I have forged all of these new connections, and there's a lot more positive coming in. I mean, how do you personally like deal with being vulnerable online? And it can help us connect more with like deeply with people. But how do you feel about like making like opening yourself up in that way?
I mean, it's terrifying every single time I do. Like, it's to be fair, like, even with threads, you get the watered down version because I use glass, dot photo. It's like my favorite little place to hide and stuff. My account is locked down, so you do have to pay if you want to go and see that. Not me. So I'm not making any money off this. I have like, I seriously just, that's where I gear diary, but like in practice, what I want to say sometimes, because some of the topics that I talk about are really, really like spot stirrers, like child support and abuse and like parental neglect. It's it's really hard to
It's
talk about this
heavy.
because people have their own ideas of what happened. Even like they expect that you're going to be hiding something or telling the tale in a way that makes you look better. Like you're not going to tell me everything. You're gonna make yourself look the best you can. And I try to strip all of that away. I get to the deepest cores of my like back of my mind, the fears, the thoughts, it is incredibly vulnerable and it's terrifying, but I get a lot of confidence in my art when I do so, and I get confidence in who I am as a person. I get a lot of support from other people who have felt the same way but don't know how to express it or have been through similar situations. And honestly, I'm so grateful for those people because, like, true, like it is really hard, especially when people, like I said, say literally on my posts, no one cares. Like, you're just doing this for the attention.
Yeah,
And I'm not. I really am not. Like,
you
it,
want to
it's
like
really.
I mean, it can be. I don't know, people are like, "Oh, you're doing this for attention." I feel like there's a number of any number of reasons you could be doing the catharsis. There could be like just like so someone else hears what's going on. Like there's like a need to be seen or to matter to have it out there somewhere in the world that somebody else knows what's going
Right?
on.
It's huge. And honestly, well, and also as a communications major, like I had to go through this whole like process too in the beginning of like, is there anything wrong with attention seeking? And there was a lot of times where a lot of my posts have been focused on me trying to accept the fact that I'm an attention seeking human who needs business. And if you want to succeed within this industry, I am going to have to ask for your attention. So that is separate from me, like kind of like spewing my emotional trauma to a certain extent. But I had to go through this whole process of, is there anything wrong with getting attention from other humans? And is it okay to be in this world as this person? And I finally came to the conclusion that you are not required to come to my page. I am not forcing you to come and read what I'm saying. I am not ask like you are showing up there because you found however or what. I am not coming on your post and like spewing. I am sharing. So welcome to my thoughts. Welcome here. It's really helping me. I hope it helps you, but it's not meant for you, which I that also pissed people off when I said that because like people didn't understand it. Like they thought I was just trying to be like a bitch and like push people away. And I'm like, no, I am doing this for me, but I'm also sharing it because I also need that for me.
Well, just meaning it's not performative. It's like, this is my way of releasing this of what's inside me. And I think that there's that sort of openness is people are unused to it in a lot of ways. I think that there's a lot of people who are just like, oh, you must be doing this for attention, or, this is, who knows what this is. They're like, no, this is me just speaking about what's going on with me. And yeah, I think that there's a lot there's a lot to be gained from that. There's like you said, I'm not forcing anybody to come and be a part of this. You can choose to be a part of it or not. Like that's entirely on you. You don't have to, like it. You don't have to, as we used to do back in the old days, you can always turn the channel. You can always change the channel, dial it down, find another station to go to if this isn't what your cup of tea is.
There's millions of options out there, tons of them. And like, that's the thing is you can't please everybody. I don't want to. And that's the other, to a certain extent, people are entitled. They think that the world and content is created for them, which I mean, to a certain, like I do direct my content to like talk to, a specific person kind of like but
that's marketing. That's 101.
But I can't please everyone. So obviously it's going to talk to a specific person. That might not be you. And there is nothing wrong with that. And when people sit there and tell me that they don't like what I'm creating, I'm like, okay, then it's not for you. What do you want me to say? Do you want me to apologize? Like, I'm not going to. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, sorry for not being sorry.
They're surprised that you're not, like,
they get mad.
Putting it like you don't think I'm the most important person around. Who did not know I existed until I came and commented on your thing that you put out into the world and telling you that I didn't like it.
Suddenly they're experts on me, right?
Aren't you going to change everything that you do and change your personal self to accommodate me? That kind of gets like social media can be, like you said, like as a community, it can be both supportive and lift you up, rising tide, all those wonderful things, but it can also be challenging, like super challenging. And how do you, are there any particular ways that like it has been unexpectedly either or both of those things for you?
So I kind of like told you in the pre-interview thing about Jonathan Thorpe telling me that I was autistic at WPPI. We were on a photo walk, and I don't even know how it came up, but he was like looking at me, and I was like, what are you doing? Like, why are you calling me out?" And that forced a little bit of a journey because I'd been like sort of like working through it in my own mind because Threads really opened my eyes to some of the behaviors that I might have. So that kind of threw me off, and that was a fun journey where I like had to start talking about it and like learning, okay, maybe some of the stuff that I'm doing might be coming from a different place than what I had originally had thought. There was also just some moments where like I've had fights with people on social media, like other photographers, um, where like that's really just like it feels really crappy when the community and you aren't getting along. Like there's actually somebody that you interviewed that blocked me like really early on in the threads thing because I think that they thought that I was one of those people that was trying to like glom on or whatever. And oh my God, I felt so guilty and awful. And I was like, what did I do? And I had to like really think about what I was like doing online and like what it like appeared like I was doing. That was hard. But like they came back, they unblocked me later, but I still don't know what happened there, but I don't really care at this point. It's just it was hard taking that moment of how much does this matter to me? Because I don't really know them. And
Right.
I don't really like, and just because they are really big in the community and leaders and stuff, does it matter if I'm, being excluded by this person? Actually, I found a whole community of people who were excluded by him, and we all banded together and we became the underdogs, and we would just kind of like laugh about it because it was just so funny to watch him block all these people while claiming community. So it created my own little community.
Mm.
So
The outcasts group.
mhm.
The
And I like the Outcast group. The Outcast group is more fun.
Yeah, I mean that's always kind of the one that I've been a part of from since I was a teenager. The lurking on the outsides, and like when I go to a conference or uh, workshop or something, and I'm always sort of like the person like leaning up against the wall at the back, just kind of like, and I'll say something because I don't know, like this was growing up sort of thing that a very deep voice and it carries, and so I would, and it turned into a whole other thing because I would mumble because I was sort of like speaking under my breath because I didn't want to be heard. But like the few people who were like closest to me could hear what I say, and like, and I'm a smartass. So it's just like I make some sort of sarcastic comment about something, and the people around me would like chuckle and laugh, and I'm like, well, you're giving it away. You don't laugh because like then I'm going to draw attention to myself, which is what I'm really trying not to do. But like I end up finding that sort of thing in person where I have like some social anxiety. It's much easier for me to deal with people online, at least first, and like get kind of like break the ice a little bit. And I always tell people like, once I get to know you and feel comfortable with you, I'm an open book. I will tell you anything. But if I have not met you, like it's really hard for me to like go up to people I don't know and say anything to them. So like, making connections at, workshops and conferences is really hard for me. And I usually find that when it happens is because I made a joke about something and they kind of like, oh, that was funny. And then, we connect on being that sort of like having that similar sense of humor or being on the outside looking in sort of thing and like make that connection that way.
I got really lucky with WPPI. That was my first year, actually the only year I've gone. But a girlfriend that I was there with got drunk and walked up to David Hakamaki and introduced herself and then walked away and left me to talk to him. And I was like, hey. So we started talking photos and I showed him an image that I had been like posting on Glass, and he said you need to turn it upside down when you're looking at the photo. Like that, take a moment, just turn it upside down and look at it in a different direction. And then he started talking about uh the light, like it's like light has the 0 to 255 whatever, and so the fact that I knew that fact and knew how to like adjust that within Photoshop and everything, he was like, oh, you know your stuff. And that's when he was like, so now we're besties, and he took me around, and like I got to go, like he introduced me to Lindsay Adler and Jonathan Thorpe, and he like the owners of Fundy. Like he took me to Cliff Motner's now on my friends list. Like it's been really fun. It was really fun, but like I got Johnny Creative.
Johnny Edward. Yeah,
that was so much fun. So, but like that's how I ended up getting to meet all those people. But it was so like random and by chance, and like people should just start going up to people and introducing yourself. But it's too scary to do that.
It is. I mean, like, and like I said, people who know me find it really hard to believe. Because they're like, what do you mean? Like, you're like, the person will go up and do karaoke before anybody else, or, we'll go up and like, you used to get up on stage in front of thousands of people, and like, yeah, but there's something so much more intimate about going up to someone you don't know and being like, pay attention to me. I think that's the thing that they could really, I talk about being open, like that almost made me feel like weepy, like even saying it was just like, it's like, oh, hey, like, do I matter to this person? Do I like that? And that's like, that's the fight that's always happening, like for me, is like going up to somebody and being like, hey, my name is Casey. I'm hoping we make it happen. If we keep going back and forth because scheduling is up, but like Joe McNally is supposed to be coming on the show at some point, because I met him he was doing a workshop near me, and, it's a great workshop, whatever. I was walking outside as he happened to be like loading his truck, and I was like, I'm going to like go up and say hi and like say, hey, do you want to come on the show? And he was like super nice. It's like very sweet. And it was like, yeah, let's, we've been like going back and forth via email, but he's like constantly out of the country, and like, I've got these 3 workshops like that are coming up that are all in a row, and like trying to find, and he just keeps writing me back going like, I have not blown you off. Which right there is like a super nice thing. But it was such that was such a moment for me to be like, oh yeah, I can walk up to people and just say hi. It's still hard, but like finding it's scary.
And I know that I have a personality that reads outgoing and energetic, but I have so much social anxiety too. Like seriously, I read personality online as energetic, and then if you meet me in person, I will probably put on that energetic show. But like it's hard and difficult, and I have to like psych myself out like completely.
This takes me in a whole different, like there's sort of you put on like, I don't want to call it a mask, but it's like there's a persona that you put on sometimes to try to like, and I feel like doing weddings, it's not necessarily a persona, but it is like there is a more energetic version of myself that I bring to weddings, because I need to be able to take charge as like the lead photographer. I need to be able to, all these things that need to happen. If I'm a second shooter, I'm like in my, like, hey, this is great. Yeah. I don't have to do anything. I'm just going to stand over in the corner.
Talk to anyone.
I don't have to talk to anybody. Like, it's usually for a friend of mine. So it's like, we're, like having our, little coffee clutch in the, in the downtime, whatever.
But doing weddings, doesn't it feel like a performance? It feels like, because literally, I mean, like I changed it obviously to suit the people, but like I'm going through the exact same motions. I mean, it depends on the wedding and everything, but you have at a certain point, it becomes formulaic or an act of almost like just like, not like I'm in the moment, but like,
I don't know. Does
that make sense?
I understand what you're saying. And it's funny because like I just did an interview with Susan Stripling, who's a wedding photographer, and we're both theater people. And we were talking about like, why do you think there's so many theater people in weddings? Not just photography, but like wedding planners, makeup artists, all the other things. And we were saying like, well, there is a performative aspect. It is very much like theater in a way.
Yeah.
because there's a structure, usually like a 2 or 3 act structure, where you're like, okay, so this is what's happening first, so then it's this, and it all like, it's not exactly the same, but it's very similar to all of the other ones that you do. Like, 2 people are going to say their vows and whatever. Then there's most likely going to be food and some sort of celebration afterwards. There is a getting ready portion of the day. Like, there's these 3 distinct periods that, you may have less or more depending on what their personal preferences are. But there is that sort of like, I am playing a character aspect to that, like, as well. But it's like, we were talking about, like, you can practice and you can get prepared and you can have your lists of all the things that are going on. But then on the day of, like, anything can go wrong and you have to improvise and be go with that. But yeah, there is I would say that on weddings, people get I'm not gonna say the best version of myself, but the most caring version of myself, because I like my and not to say that I don't care generally, but like, I think that I'm a people pleaser and I'm doing my best to make sure that everyone is taken care of, especially the couple. And it's where I'm saying, like, I am here for you. You can give me the high sign, like you need some time to yourselves. I will throw myself on the grenade of your crazy aunt who wants to make the whole day about herself. I will take that explosion. I will do that. Like, I will do whatever my clients need me to do. And that is not necessarily like how I'm like, just in my general life. I'm not just like going, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go over there and I'm going to say to that lady, hey, leave those people alone. Stop complaining. That's not, but, as my clients, I become, you've done weddings, you're a therapist, you're a comedian, you're, 1,800 different things to this couple and their families. Right. And you're not just like standing around going click the whole time.
Well, you just have like you said, so like you went through it. I have the exact same thing that I tell my clients. I'm here for you today. Anything that you need, anything that you want, I'm here to like help make sure that happens for you and like take care of it. There's no anxiety today. Like I was like, that's one of those, like I have these little one-liners that like I will use with all of my clients, but I know my role to play throughout the day. And I know, I was listening to your episode with Brandy, and it's like, I know when I'm supposed to be there. I know when I'm not supposed to be there. I know when I'm supposed to, go and push, like you said, that crazy aunt out of the way, because you will get that on weddings. There's, I know when dad is peeing in the bushes at the ceremony site, and I will, subtly take care of that stuff so that my clients don't have to worry about it and everything. Because,
Yeah, it's like, oh, I can tell when people are like, I need a break. Mm-hmm. So I will go up to them and be like, hey, can I pull you guys aside for like a minute to take some photos? And then we'll get out of the way of everybody else and be like, we don't need to take any pictures. You guys just need a minute. And they're like, how did you know? Like, I can tell.
Because
like, that's my job. That's part of my job, is to like, see that those things are happening. And like, you learn. The more you do it, the more you know. And like, sometimes people are just really, really good. I find that people who are successful in that realm, I think in most realms of photography, you have to be able to read people. And whether you're like, whether that is marketing yourself or whatever, the better you are able to read people, generally the more quote unquote successful you will be, because you can understand their needs. Some people use that for evil. I think some people
I think it's psychology. Like a lot of it is psychology. Like people are like, when you understand people and like your journalism background and like theater background, you have to get into the minds of the people that you are, interviewing. You have to get into the minds of the people that you are playing, and which means that you have to understand what they're going through, and you have to understand what you can do as a person to like help them through that. And so when you have that understanding, you can it's not even a thought. I don't even think about it these days. It's just like, I know what I need to do to take care of you in that moment, because I know psychologically this is what is best for you. And it's going to help me in the end to get what I need. Yeah. And I think a lot of people don't realize that most of it is psychology. Like
I think
getting people into that moment
I think
and
that
brains.
the term we're looking for there is empathy.
Yeah,
Yeah, being
there
able
you go. That is.
to be empathetic and understand what other people are feeling and get into their mindset is how you better serve them, how you better, like, I always tell people, like, if you are dealing with clients in any way at all, you're in a service industry.
Hmm.
You are providing something for that person, whether it's not just photos. Usually it's like there's some sort of experience that they want to get out of
Hmm.
this. And that's why people are like, I want to be a luxury wedding photographer. I'm like, do you even know what that means? Because that means a whole other thing. It's not just getting paid more money. It's
Hmm.
providing a whole different kind of service, that for your clients, and understanding whether or not are those the people you want to be dealing with, but also like understanding whether that or not that's the, like, I have done very pricey, whatever you want to call it, like luxurious in budget weddings, but I
Hmm.
am not a luxury wedding photographer, and nor were they looking for what I would term luxury wedding photography, because that's a different thing. They were looking for someone who, like, connects with people on a personal level and is, like, for me, it's about bringing out their personality and who they are, as opposed to coming in and being like, it's going to look like this, and it's going to, like, here's this shot that I do at every wedding that everybody wants me to recreate at every wedding. Like, no, we're not doing that. We're going to find something that works for you. Um, so yeah, that's that. I think that's the, like, people need to understand how to connect with other people. Like, I mean, I think that
Hmm.
this feels like the recurring theme of our whole conversation today is like making connections. Um,
Which is so funny because like I said, I am autistic and like I have so we all have social anxiety and all this other stuff. Like there are so many obstacles to it that I don't view it as an excuse for people. Because you noticed that people get all these excuses for why they can't do things, and I'm like, I don't care. What can you do? Tell me what you can do. I just don't care to hear about what you can't do. Tell me what you can do and how do you do it? Because there are ways to overcome things. And if you can find, actually, that's what you're telling me when you tell me what you can't do is you're telling me you're not very creative because
or that you don't
you
want to.
have to. Yes. Yeah, and that's the thing. I want people in my life who are looking for the solutions, who are working through the problems. And like, even though that we have these issues, we are still pushing through. And that's what makes us whole people who are able, to be connected to others.
Well, I mean, that kind of brings me to one of my questions. Like, what advice would you give to photographers who are trying to use social media, which can tend to be like, hey, it's trends. We're going to reward a trend, and try to be unique and true to yourself. What advice would you give to photographers who are like
First of
battling with that?
I would start talking about, first of all, the topics that are actually important and passionate to you, because you can tell when people are not actually passionate about things or they don't have a deep connection to it
Mm.
because they're just talking to talk. And like you are not going to garner any interest when you're just talking to talk. And if you have an actual excitement and interest and passion about things, it is visceral. People can feel it and they want to be around that. People like to be where the party is at. They like to be around smiley, happy people who are having fun. And you don't have to be a smiley, happy person, but you do have to have passion and want to share that and not feel like you're shaming other people for their choices and stuff. And like, it's just, you need to be your own self and get over all the other crap and just be in the world sharing passionately. And I think that's the thing that I want more from people is let's see you. Let's see what drives you and connect to other people outside of your industry. Like you'll notice that I specifically, I mean, I do interact with photographers, but I also interact with pen makers, writers, poets, potters, um, literally any kind of creative medium out there is going to like be more interesting to me. One, because I'm inspired by what they're doing and it then informs my art. But two, I can have conversations about the creative aspects from a different perspective. But I promise you that my writer friends are all having imposter syndrome. They're all having like,
Yeah.
sales conferences thrown at them and like we can make you money and get published today and find your audience. And like, they're all going to it. But here's the thing, if they're liking your work and you're liking their work, they probably are going to have friends that also like your work. And it's like, you're going to connect.
Again,
So.
yeah, making that web of connections is, you know, like, and I there's a reason this is called the nerdy photographer. Like I'm a big movie nerd and I love comic books and, you know, music and all of these things. And, there's, yeah, those are things I connect with as well, but it has led to people listen to this show who are not photographers. They just listen to it because they like, enjoy the conversations that I have with people. And there's just a really nerdy aspect to it. So it's like you're making connections with people on different levels. And it's not always in being true to yourself leads to greater connections, like stronger bonds and connections than rage bait stuff. Like that's like such a huge trend on Threads right now is just like the rage baiting, because people are like, oh, I'm going to get engagement. And it's like, for what? For what? People are going to hate you. Like this is like, you know, or just be like annoyed with what you do. Like, do you think that's going to make people come back?
Like, did you see that whole fight I had with the one guy? Oh my God. It was because he was just like, well, I need this to get engagement. And I'm like, do you though? Or is that a story that you're telling yourself?
That's
like,
lazy.
Right? Because it really is lazy to sit there and just piss people off, which I say in the shame of like totally like to argue with people online. But like, it's just, it is lazy. If you cannot get people to pay attention to you without angering people just for the fun of it, then there's something wrong with you. And I have no interest in talking to you.
Yeah. I mean, my wife is always like, are you getting into fights online? Like, nope. She's like, no, you are. I can tell. I'm looking at your body language is saying that you're like furiously in your head, creating the next like reply to whatever they've said. Yeah. The guy who wanted to change like f-stop to like a, I don't know if you remember that. Like it was like last week. When we're talking, is on Threads, and he was like, "We should just change the f-stop to just a instead of an f because you know we're talking about aperture and it has nothing to do with f." And I was like, "Yeah, it does. It's focal length. It's an equation. It's focal length divided by the number that's the width of the aperture." And he goes, "Yeah, I know that, but like when you're talking to like beginning photographers, they don't understand that. That confuses them." And I'm like, so they shouldn't. This is not a difficult concept. This isn't a difficult concept to comprehend. They shouldn't learn about this or understand what that means. He's like, no, I'm just saying that we should say A because we're talking about aperture and it can mean the other thing. But like, it was just like
in college, I was on the debate team and an argument without evidence is an assertion and your assertion is bullshit. Sorry. I'm sorry.
That's fine. You can swear on this. It's fine. You're
okay, good. Because I have like the worst potty mouth. So.
Nothing stopping you here.
Not on wedding days, I promise.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I rein that in.
Oh, yeah. I try to, like, when I'm around children, whatever, they can talk less like a sailor. Yeah, but it's just like, okay, we should just change it on your whim of like, this will be easier. Like, no, it's actually, I mean, it's not. It's not easier. It doesn't make any sense what you're talking about. Just because, like, I think it should be this letter instead of, you know, an F. And I'm like, what are you getting out of this? Like, what do you think? Again, it's a certain way. What engagement are you truly getting? You're just like making people angry or upset, or like to get your 50 interactions on some post that people are.
Which can we talk about? Like, I really just want to yell at the internet and be like, like I was hitting over 1 million views monthly there. You know what it didn't do for me? Get me more clients or business. Like it definitely connected me to other people. But like you said, when you're hitting that kind of an audience, all it does is bring in the people who yell at you and shame you. And you're not connecting with the quality of the people that you were when you're at the smaller one. So I have definitely pulled back my presence online on Threads just because I prefer this quieter, less, seen thing, which is, I know, especially because I'm like right in the beginning of my wedding career and everything, but like I need to be seen. But I I don't care. Like, social media is not where I'm going to find my clients, or at least not on Threads.
Well, I think that the difference there is that you have to, and this is like what a tale as old as time. Um, who are you trying to talk to? Who are you trying to attract?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I see all these photographers who like post these like rage baity things, and are doing all this stuff, or like talking poorly about clients. Why are you talking poorly about clients on like? Leave that stuff for your in-person conversations with your friends if you're like really upset about something that somebody did. Unless this person did something, borderline criminal or whatever, like I would most likely leave it out of the public forum. But you'll see these people like, oh my gosh, can you believe that this client, and they'll like show pictures like from the wedding or whatever it was. And I'm like, what do you like? What message are you sending to future clients? That if you don't like me, or you don't like, this isn't the perfect situation for you, that you're going to try to shame me online. Like, this is like, like it goes both ways, where you have the people complain about the clients who are like, oh, they wanted their money back, or they wanted this, blah, blah, blah. How
Really,
are you better by like, then like shaming people, like showing their pictures and being like, oh, can you believe they chose this for their wedding? And I'm like, what?
well, we've always heard that thing, like, the big gossip in town. You don't share your personal information with the big gossip, because it's going to go everywhere. It's like, it's the same thing. If you're gossiping about your clients online, do you think that they're going to want to come to you? Like,
Right.
it's just, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. And it's like, like, who are you trying to attract? And it's like, there's a reason that the nerdy photographer is separate from my business. I talk differently to my clients than I do when I'm trying to talk to photographers. I'm not going to talk about the same subjects. And that's one of the things that's always like kind of like boggled my mind, that there are like photographers who are just like, I'm going to have this whole, like, it's also still just me. And it's the same account where I'm like trying to get people to hire me, where I'm also going to talk about the needs of photographers. And it's like, but what are your potential clients going to come here and like, they see you trying to sell to other photographers? And it's, why aren't you paying, like doing the job that you're getting hired for as a photographer for like your clients, instead of like doing that? Well, why am I here? Why am I hearing all of this talk about photographers? Which is why I was like, I got to keep it. When I started one, I was like, nope, it's got to be separate. It's a different thing. It is not like where I talk to clients about, like what they need to understand from, me as a corporate photographer or wedding photographer or portraits, whatever I'm doing. I'm not talking to the same audience.
Yeah.
But I see that a lot from people who are just like, I'm going to like try to get all this attention from other photographers. And then it's like, you look at their account and they're like, they're trying to get hired by people, trying to get hired by clients. Photographers are not hiring you.
That's exactly it. That last bit is what the photographers are not hiring you. That's like, I am not going to get hired by another photographer because they can do what I can do. There's no freaking point in selling to other photographers. So sell to your clients, which is that I was covering my face because like I really do need to separate my landscape and print stuff from my like business side. I'm working on it. It's really hard.
It's
like,
difficult.
That's kind of where like, that's what kind of built my Threads stuff, is a lot of that stuff. So it's sort of helped me grow a little bit, but it really should get separated.
Yeah, it's one of those things that like I've struggled with for many years. Like when I started out, I was more of a generalist before I got into weddings.
Mm-hmm.
And I sort of niched down to weddings, and I was like, oh, I still got all this other stuff on my website. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to redo, and I'm going to have this stuff here. And I'm going to have, like, I had a portfolio that was kind of on a hidden part of the website. Like, so if somebody came to me or they were looking for something, I could send it to them. But now it's like, I've got it, like, I have two separate websites. I've got, well, kind of three. I've got one that's for weddings and engagements. That's all it's about. Then I've got one that is like corporate events, portraits, and like other portraits and events. Like basically, like, it's events and portrait stuff separate from weddings. And then I've got my like art stuff. So like that's where I go for like my flowers and landscapes and things like that. That people are looking for. Just like they can just sit there and look at the pictures. They don't necessarily have to buy something, but if they want to buy a print, they can buy a print. And the other stuff, like keeping it separate, because people who are coming to me for corporate gigs don't want to sit there and look at wedding photos. They're like, why are you talking to me about weddings? And I had like other friends who were photographers who had like all the stuff on like the same website. And I was just like, I'm confused if I'm a client. Like, you have to think about who you're talking to. Like,
Well, and I was talking to Ian over at Demon View the other day, and it's like your website is kind of like a house, in that you get to direct. Well, I guess no, you're directing them through like your website. Like, how do you want them to move through it? And so you have to think about like, what you're presenting to them, how you're presenting to it, and like every choice that you make is going to help them, move to, from the welcome page to your blog or to your portfolio, that contact thing. And as you sit there and think about your clients going through your website, how would you personally, go through it and think about what do you want them to do? How do you want them to move? Where do you want them to go? And then design it that way.
yeah, you have to design the experience for them. Like, like there has to be a flow. This is like a, like, okay, they're going to start here, then I go here. Like, that is something I spent a lot of time on when I was doing my wedding website. Was like, they're going to start on this first page, and then there's a couple of different places they can go. But eventually, every page, the goal is to either move them to the next place along the line or to get them to reach out. Those are the two choices. Like, either we're going to the next stop on the story or you're contacting me. Because eventually the goal is you want them to contact you, and like, so you can like talk about getting hired. That is the goal. It's not just to like let them sit. I had somebody where I was doing a workshop for wedding photographers, and I was talking about like, you need to check your analytics and like see what's happening. And I was like, what's the average amount of time that somebody spends on your website? And I had this one photographer who said like, oh, I've got people who spend like 2 hours, it's like almost 2 hours. I'm like, 2 hours?
What?
Like, who's spending 2 hours on your website? I'm like, I think that people are
mother.
Yeah, well, and I said like, I think that you're looking at that the wrong way.
Yeah.
You don't want people sitting on your website for 2 hours, because either A, they're confused, or B, they left and the tab is open and they are not paying attention to what's going on.
Nobody is staring at your website for 2 hours. I promise you that, dude. You
kind of want to get that down to maybe 20 minutes at the most, so that they've gone through everything. They've maybe stopped and looked at a blog post. Maybe they've gotten into the galleries, whatever, but then they've made their decision. They've moved on to like whether or not we're going to contact you. Like, they shouldn't be like, the goal is not to have them on there for as long as possible, but like make it confusing for them to get through. They should always know how to get in touch with you. They should always that should be like easy to do from any page.
No obstacles, because the more obstacles they have, the less likely they are to contact you.
Right.
Make it easy. Honestly, I think a lot of things that people don't think about, and one of the things that really changed for me was the golden rule of like, treat others the way that you want to be treated. And that's how I run my business, because I had no idea what I was doing in the beginning. And I was like trying to do what I thought a professional photographer should do. And they're going to, do everything in this certain way and respond in this certain way and all that. And I finally was like, I can't do this. It is making me far too anxious. I need to know this information, and I'm going to tell them that this is going to make me happy. And I want to do the best job that I can for them. And I'm going to just do what I think is going to be the best thing for them in the way that I would want to be treated as a person. And that's my ultimate deciding factor now. How would I want to be treated? And that's how I treat my clients.
Hey, photographers, are you ready for a website glow up? Get supercharged with StyleCloud. StyleCloud offers beautifully designed, high-performing website templates built just for creatives like you. Whether you're showcasing weddings, portraits, or passion projects, you'll look as good online as your work does in print. Were you left high and dry and wondering what you were going to do with your Flow Themes website when the company shut down? No problem. StyleCloud makes migrating your Flow Themes site easy. Your content moves over, no stress, no mess. Plus, Import your images directly from your PicTime galleries. No downloading, no re-uploading, just seamless integration and stunning design. Visit nerdyphotographer.com/recommends/stylecloud or visit the link in the episode notes. Save 15% when you use code nerdyphoto15 at checkout. That's nerdyphotographer.com/recommends/stylecloud and use code nerdyphoto15. StyleCloud isn't just a template, it's a launch pad for your brand. Get started today. Hey there, Nerdy Photo crew. There's one thing you should never be caught without as a professional photographer, and that's a good contract, both for dealing with your clients and dealing with subcontractors that you may work with along the way. Be sure to head over to nerdyphotographer.com and go to our shop and find our contract templates for portrait photography, event photography, wedding photography, as well as dealing with second photographers, associate photographers, and any other subcontractors that you might have. Check it out and keep your business safe.
Hey. And now for my favorite part of the show. What's that say? Useless information. This is always death.
Linda, do you think that cold weather can actually give you a cold?
No.
That's right. Cold is not caused by the temperature. Different thing. You can catch pneumonia or whatever. You can get not pneumonia, but like hypothermia from that. But they're actually colds are caused by viruses. Yeah, which is airborne. You can get the cold virus by shaking hands with an infected person, touching something that they've touched, like a phone, door handle. Colds are more prevalent during colder months because people tend to spend more time together inside in enclosed spaces where they're not. People are going, how did I get a cold in the summer? Is one of the things that people always be like, oh, I've got a summer cold. Well, it's not because there's cold weather. You didn't get hypothermia because you didn't get hypothermia because of it's hot out. Linda, thank you very much for being on the show. I really enjoyed having you on. Where can people find you?
Thank you so much for having me. This is really fun. I have an Instagram, Linda_Alita_, and a website. I also Threads, obviously. Clearly, why did I start with it's because that's what I'm supposed to do. See, even I can't. But Threads is really where I live and play. And if you want to interact with me the most, then Threads. But I also have a website, lindaalita.com. So
I will include all those links in the episode notes for folks who want to connect with Linda. You're welcome back anytime.
Oh, thank you so much.
Welcome back. Many thanks to Linda Alita for being on the show. Be sure to check the episode notes for Linda's links so you can follow along with her. While you are following, be sure to follow the Nerdy Photographer at The Nerdy Photo on all major social media platforms such as Instagram, Threads, TikTok, Blue Sky, Reddit, etc., etc. That's at The Nerdy Photo. No dots, underscores, or dashes.
Well,
I get it. I say a lot of the same things over and over again, but it's how I deliver that information.
oh, really?
Yes. And until next time, stay safe and stay nerdy. Hey, stop that. That's not funny, Fib. Shut it off.
Who's that coming back to town? You better start listening. Who's your heart been beating about? You better listen.